Welcome to a PowerTune Digital video on how you can customize your dash. This video will try to cover off all the basic tips and tricks that someone might want to know when they're first setting up a dash, and how they can navigate the different menus, add different sensors and customize the layouts on their screen. Now, the first tip I would recommend is, whilst touch is certainly easy when you're driving around and it's convenient to do things on the fly, when you're doing the first time setup, having a mouse plugged in will certainly save you a fair bit of time and some precision touching to try and get things in the right spot. So having touch is really convenient for day to day, but the first time setup takes sort of 30 to 60 minutes to make things look how you want, and certainly having a mouse makes life a whole lot easier. So when you first get your dash, it's going to look something like this. I'm using one that's been messed around a little bit with because I've had mine for a while. So ultimately this will look very similar to what you have. So when you first start the dash up, you'll get this screen here, and if you swipe to the left, you'll see there's additional dash screens that are preloaded until you eventually get your way across to the main settings menu here. Now, the first thing you'll see if you click on the dash select screen is you can pick the 4 active dashes or layouts that you've currently got set. So for example, if I change this one to lap timer and then I scroll back, you'll see the 4th one is now changed to an older version of the lap timer there. And if I go back and set it to user dash 3, it goes back to one I prepared earlier. So let's go back to the start. There's a couple of things to understand. So scrolling across to the menu, the settings menu, this is what they call the main settings menu here. So this is where all the main ECU settings can be set and all the main settings that you would need to have, generally speaking. However, in the individual dash screens, if you double tap, you get the layout menu, and the layout menu allows you to customize the dashes. Now, you might remember a few moments ago, this one was called main dash. So this image here on this one is fixed. It can't be changed. So when you're doing customizations, you want to do it on one of the user dashes. So I'll go back to show that again in case it didn't make sense. In the dash select here, we've got the main dash. The picture on that one is relatively fixed, whereas these user dashes, we can change those to have the layouts however we like. So let's go to this one here. Now, when you first get your dash, I'm going to clear this one off, and I'll go through this a little bit quickly and then explain after. So you'll have a screen, one of the dash screens you get that will look something like this, and this is an ideal one to customize the way that you see fit because it doesn't have any artwork, background artwork like this one does, but I'll explain that in due course. Now, as I mentioned, if you double tap, you access the layout menu here. So earlier we had the main settings menu. If you double tap on the layout screens, you get the layout menu. And if you double tap on an individual gauge, you get the gauge menu, and you can scroll up and down on this list here. So there's the main settings menu, the layout menu here, and then the individual gauge menus here. Now, the first thing to note is when this menu is open, these gauges become unlocked and can be moved around. And that is on all dash screens. So for example, if I click away to swipe away to the next dash screen, you'll see this one becomes unlocked. So a common mistake people make is when they first get the dash, they start on this screen here and they accidentally double tap as they're swiping across to the next one, not realizing that act unlocks everything and causes all the gauges to move around. So ultimately, when you're not modifying the layouts, you must always keep this menu closed. Otherwise, things will move on you when you don't expect them to, and it can be confusing at first if you don't understand why that keeps happening. Now, what we'll do is we'll go back to, and you'll see I just did it there myself. Let's go to this layout screen here. You'll have one that looks like this. So if we double tap, we get the layout menu, and what we can do here is customize the generic elements of the layout. So for example, let's say the vehicle is themed red. We could go to colors here, and we can change the text, the titles, the bars, and all the coloring. So the title bar color is currently light blue, which doesn't look great. So if we select on that, and if we scroll down, if we're going for a red themed car, we'll try and find something red. On touch, it's a lot easier to scroll through this list, but since I'm using a mouse so you can see it in the video, it's a little bit slower there. And you'll see we can get red. Now the light blue frame now looks pretty terrible there. So if we double tap and we go back to colors, we'll see the frame title is the frame color is transparent, and if we click transparent, it doesn't change. Now this is a normal behavior. What you have to do is click away to any other color. In this case, we'll just go aqua. And if we go back to transparent, you'll see the transparent then gets applied to it. So we've now set red theme for our title bars. Now let's say we want to modify these individual gauges. So for this one, for the 86, it has a clutch switch. Well, let's say our car doesn't have one. So we're going to double tap on this gauge. And then we're going to scroll down and go remove gauge. Now in the top right corner here, there's a drop-down menu where we can select all the different data sources that PowerTune Digital supports across the different ECUs that are covered. Now let's scroll down to say boost, and we're going to go then add square. So you'll see it gives us a boost gauge, which is oversized, so we need to customize this gauge. So we double tap for the layout menu, then we double tap for the gauge menu. We're going to change the gauge size. We'll go small. And you can see that's the default has come through in kg, kilograms per square inch. So we're going to go change unit symbol. We're going to set that to PSI. And then we're just going to reapply our color red. Now again, we have to click away and then go back to the color because it was already selected. Again, with the frame transparent, we click away and we go back to transparent. And then I'm just going to line that up a little bit better than I did. And then we can, after we've made our changes, we press save. So that's some basic customization there that you can do. Let's say we wanted to change the title of the gauge. If we double tap for the gauge menu, we can change the title here. And we'll call that unicorns and save. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is for a dash design that does not utilize any background artwork, but we can utilize background artwork to make dashes that are even better looking than the ones that don't have them. So you'll see this one is a combination of a background image and a dash layout combined. So if we double tap to get the layout menu, what we'll first do is press clear to clear off the layout, and we'll see this is just a background picture here, and we can load these onto our dashes as we like. Now if we select colors, if we go to background, sorry, I played that a bit quick. So in the background menu here, you can select different background images, and we can transfer as many as we like onto the dash. So the previous one we had was config dash, so let's change that to bull dash 1, as this is a supercar inspired dash, I believe, is the bull reference. So that gives us the background, but this isn't a live gauge. So we double tap for the layout menu and we can select import, and they have a whole bunch of preloaded dashes in here where we can scroll down and select the bull dash and go load, and then it will bring that layout through for you. And then you can press save to save that one in. So it's important to understand that when you go across to the main settings menu, you won't have, supercar inspired dash or any of the specific dash names. These just represent the overall layout that's been saved or loaded, but then the individual layouts can be completely customized with background images and different layout styles, and you can change everything from font colors, sizes, texts, the positioning, anything you like can be done. These background images, you can make them with any program on any computer. As long as you make them the right size, you can then copy them onto your dash, so you can absolutely make your own. So if we were to clear this one off, we go back to the background here, and we'll put the background picture as, say, main dash, let's go blue. And then I'm going to go import, and then blue dash, it happens to be the top of the list, and I press load, and you'll see the blue dash comes through, and then I would be able to start adding some, say, bar gauges or square gauges, and start moving these along the bottom here. And that gives you a basic demonstration of how to lock and unlock the gauge layouts, how to import different pictures and then put gauge layouts over the top of them, and selecting the different gauge layouts from the main settings screen. So again, remember, this is the main settings or settings screen. If you go to a layout and double tap, you get the layout menu, and if you double tap on a gauge, you get the gauge menu. I hope everyone finds this video helpful.